we'll have some corrections.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please. That's what this is for.
Okay, good.
I want all of you.
Every other meeting.
Okay. All right, are we ready to start? Are we ready to roll?
I have
Yeah.
Do we have anybody online?
There is
meeting setting for
a couple, yeah.
Okay.
it comes in handy.
Paul, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
Curious why you guys do those and that, and here.
Force a habit, mostly.
It also helps when someone raises a hand and I can see the person that has their hand raised. And Nick, could you make a note? Can we add the chat option on our Zoom meeting?
I don't know. I can see.
I think it's just a settings thing, but it comes in really handy. That way you don't have to interrupt the meeting and you can send it back and forth. That's
Do we want to talk about muting for anybody on there?
Should be okay now. Yeah. I think it was Paul who unmuted when he told us.
All right. Okay, you can call roll.
Commissioner Castillo-White.
Here.
Chair Jansen's.
Here.
Commissioner Stephen.
Here.
Commissioner Kester.
Here.
Commissioner Landers.
Here.
Vice Chair Steffen.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes, good evening.
Great. Everybody's here, it's nice. Super. Let's see. Agenda, anybody who would like or to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Great. Now, at this time, for our online audience, we'd like to open it up for any public comment on non-agenda items. Anybody has anything to say? Okay, we'll move on. Next, we'll move into our discussion to review the application materials of the narrative and then the property documentation. So, has everybody had a chance to read through this? It seems like Nick is open to suggestions.
There's sections that I couldn't find too much info on, like, for example, where the Hungry Hill nickname comes from. I know you all are well versed. So what I put in there
It's creative.
it could be taking some liberties.
It's creative. I was like, oh, wow, did that?
That's right.
Wow, that's not what I remember.
The other sections were taken largely from the city website bio.
Okay.
But any story elements you want to add, anything take away, any grammatical structure, please, this is your application. I want you to feel proud of it. I'm not the best writer, so this is your chance.
Okay, should we go by it just from the beginning and start paragraph by paragraph? Okay. We're not going to bother with that. I am wondering, since you refer to the original names, are we going to include that plat with the original names on it?
In our application?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, are we by any chance going to include any history of where those names came from?
If I would
Any
be,
knowledge?
I would love that if we could.
We have a limited knowledge on that, mostly the first plat, the second plat. I made some guesses, but Sharon didn't confirm who they were named after. So it's, I don't think they actually know.
For the second plat.
What was it for the second plat?
But doing what we do have, identifying what we do have, I think would be,
I have some educated guesses that I,
yeah.
but anyway, I can explain those
Yeah.
and there.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Be a really cool thing to add in.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll have to
Okay.
take a look.
Was the eastern boundary always Sandy Avenue?
Yes, it was
That
called
was always
Sandy.
called Sandy?
Well, it's Sandy Street.
Okay.
And the
Was the
reason for
original.
that is, it was the river, it's on the,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh my God, I
Yeah, so that,
picked
they
up on
did
that.
change that one because it's still the same.
Okay. Anybody have anything else for the first paragraph?
So when it says an overview of the entire district based on its history and its architectural and urban design, I would like some descriptive words because this area is just, I don't know, like rich history or special architecture. I mean, this area is special for a number of reasons. And it's just not this little story we're telling, it's a small part of a bigger picture. And I just wanted somehow for whoever's reading this, get a little bit excited about it and understand that there's a whole bunch of great things going on in this area. Like, the gorge, the historic highway, et cetera, our landscape and the natives and everything else.
Right.
So I thought it just sounded, I want to draw them in. Is this just going to planning? Is this the only person that's going to be reading this?
Planning and then council.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might
yeah.
be nice to kind of elaborate a little bit upon, I mean, I think that, to your point, Diane, that a lot of people just assume that Troutdale got designed because it's not Carpdale, it's Troutdale, right? Instead of, like, it was really a native people's land, traders were here, and even before. And with the confluence of the rivers, it was kind of a key area before John Harlow came and started developing it in the late 1800s or mid to late 1800s.
And I'm assuming most people that hear this, maybe they haven't read everything that we even have in our Troutdale website, on history and stuff like that. So I like when I describe things, it's like my mind's blank. Now tell me about this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then that way we get them a little bit excited too about this.
I think
this whole
being
thing.
concise is important also. We don't need to give them a,
Yeah.
a
But maybe
bubble.
a sentence or two,
no,
just
yeah.
a sentence or two
Just
to help
acknowledge.
acknowledge
certain
the
aspects.
original people here
We
before
could,
this.
like a land acknowledgement in the beginning, saying like,
Like that.
we recognize this land was originally populated by Chinook. Is that who's here?
Yeah, I think it was several tribes moved through, I think, and lived in the area. It may have been here, I mean, they're not predominantly there, but people moved up and down the rivers, basically, trading and fishing and. Yeah, I think that would be a great way to start with that.
Yeah, just something that, it's a unique landscape with with people, many peoples coming together for different reasons. So just something like you said, we don't need the whole history on it, but just something to give a little base and excitement going on. And then later on when we get to it, I do like the idea of John Harlow, that understanding that's where the name Troutdale came from. And then I'll go a little bit more into Celeste.
Well, it was also, a stopping point for Lewis and Clark.
Right.
So it was, like you said, a lot of people
Yeah.
coming from
They should be
overland,
brought
from the
into-
water.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that that's not made more of a mention of, especially with down by the sugar pine. And
Yeah.
it's listed.
Yeah. I think that's key.
Okay. Would you want that
Trading depot, kind of, it was a trading
up at the
hub.
top as well? Those,
Yeah.
like set the scene kind of elements?
Perfect. Because there's a reason that Harlow came here, right? It wasn't just like random,
Right,
he was
yeah.
attracted to the area for a reason.
Lewis and Clark, the trading?
That's a
was that-
lot where the Sandy River ended up getting its name, was from the Lewis and Clark expedition.
It was like a community, wasn't it? It was like called Sandy?
From what I understand, once they hit the coast and they were making their journey back, they had come through this way. And them stopping along the Sandy River, I believe, if I remember correctly, they had kind of named it the Muddy Sandy because there was so much mud and sand within the river. And so that has been historically known, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. So I think that would be a good input, also with the Native American people that were in the area at the time.
If you look at the Troutdale website, go to a brief history of Troutdale, it really gives you some, it actually mentions that as well. So it really hits all the high points you guys are talking about. So I can read that excerpt if you want. Sure. So they talk about Broughton, and then the expedition led by Lewis and William Clark in 1804 to 1806, acknowledged by Broughton's name for the mountain, but renamed what is now the Sandy as the Quicksand on November 3rd, 1805. If you go to OPRD, Lewis and Clark, they actually have a placard that has that information as well. On the return while hunting in the area, the Americans learned from native residents that they had bypassed the Willamette River. Right? That's a good note. They got lost. Following a map drawn in the sand, they returned to explore the river. That trip would help open the way for overland travel to this area. That's a neat story. And that's just one small paragraph of, gosh.
Does it talk about the indigenous people here before?
It does. So it did it in order. So it does not list all of the tribes, which would be pretty extensive. It did say Chinook, but in reality, I mean, Chinook is a generalism. That was the Wawa language, from what I understand, was basically how all the other tribes communicated. That was their general language, but individual tribes had different languages. So for Oregon, that was the means. And then I think it was French for a while, and then it migrated to English last. So, I know that because I went down to Mackenzie River, and they have a whole excerpt on the language in Oregon, from indigenous all the way up to. Yeah.
I hadn't heard that they were speaking French for a while.
What I'm saying.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
And the French and Russian traders were basically the first Europeans out
Right.
here. And then just in general, the Oregon Territory was claimed at one point or another by virtually everybody except the French. Because the Americans and the British and the Russians and the Spanish all had a claim at one point or another.
Yeah, good.
Interesting.
Highlights Broughton Bluff too, which how Broughton Bluff was named. Wetlands, Chinook. I talked to Chris recently, the director at the Troutdale Historical Museum, and kind of asked that question. It's like about the native population, and there wasn't any one tribe that really stayed here. It was very much a group
People
that
moved, were very mobile.
Yeah, so it was. I don't want to say, because it's not like the Plain Indians that migrated. That it's not like that. So
No, they just moved.
Yeah.
Based upon needs.
Yeah, so a lot of people have a misconception about this nomad characteristic, and it's like, no, that wasn't the Chinook. They had homes and houses, communities that stayed in place for years, so.
They gathered for the smelt, so special occasions where it's like, tribes went.
Seasonal events that took them to very specific
So
locations.
that first paragraph you were mentioning, it seems like it kind of caught everything to just kind of get them in, so it's maybe not difficult, because we can maybe touch on some other things later on, but that at least gets them drawn in, and it's from the website anyway, just.
Yeah, we could just take that.
Great, super. Okay, the next paragraph, second paragraph, so I apologize, I kind of. That's great. Thanks, everybody.
Add that the depot was named Troutdale after his farm. This is before it became.
Wait, are we reading 2 or 3?
What are you calling 2?
Well, I referred to that 1 initially, and then Wayne pointed out we discussed this.
Oh, okay,
So this,
sorry.
so that's
I
3.
jumped to.
I know, I get it, I totally understand, but Diane was right. So on 2 officially, I think it may read better when you say, first recorded plat of Troutdale begins at what we now know as West Historic Columbia River Highway to the north and extends to Fifth Street, previously known to the south. Maybe extends to the south to Fifth Street. I was just like, wait, where are we going? Just move to the south up and extend south to Fifth Street.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, simple thing, but I just had to read it a couple times to understand where you were at. Okay. Any other suggestions on paragraph 2? Formerly known as paragraph 1.
Yeah, we could also like move paragraphs around. I just want to mention if you think something fits somewhere better, keep that in mind too.
Okay.
So far, it seems all right.
Okay. Should we move to paragraph 3?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Leanne, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, the depot was named after his farm. This is previous to it being incorporated, the city being
Yeah.
incorporated.
I agree with that because that's the significance of who he is and
Where the name came from.
where the name came from, but also I kind of like that on this farm, he was raising trout. And the thing
He's
about.
trying to anyway.
Trying to, but
He did.
He did. But the thing about adding that and then there being Troutdale and named after his farm is that another sweet little blingy thing about getting people interested about what we're talking about, So it's that his significance, his wife's significance, and he is so significant. The town was named, by this gentleman or family. Yeah.
And the railroad was going through his property. That's what I gotta say, and or use that.
Mention trout pond. Mention depot gets named after the trout pond.
Troutdale Farm.
Troutdale Farm.
I mean, saying, writing Troutdale now with a lowercase t, just so you know. Don't blame it on you.
Would it be possible to add something in there, down at the bottom when it says it allowed him an opportunity to campaign for a depot to be built nearby to easily ship produce from his farm? Something to add on that it would also go on to ship what we had as the celery that was growing out here, the bulbs that were being,
Yeah, it was key.
Maybe not just,
Not just,
So that
not just his produce, but.
not just that, but it
farmers,
enabled a lot because Larry McGinnis, his grandfather was an award-winning celery grower out here who had won, national awards. So it didn't just start with his produce, but it allowed a lot of other things to take place.
Yeah, and same with the poultry and the meat slaughter
Yeah.
place. It was really key for,
That was kind of like the start that allowed everything else to follow through.
yes, I agree. Got that? Anything else on 3?
Other produce, celery, poultry,
Well,
I
you
would
could
put
say
celery,
a
bulbs.
other
Daffodil.
goods.
say a mixture of, how can you
just
say that?
produce and
Yeah.
other service.
Produce and other goods.
Yes.
Not just his.
Canned meats.
What year was Harlow's death?
1883?
Really? Okay.
I think. I'm reading off the website. I don't know.
Okay. And then Celestia, when was our first plat done? 1880?
1890.
Gotcha, okay, good. So I might include the year of his death.
I do not mention it, do I?
I'm like 4, yeah. Sorry.
I like the date for drama, thank you.
Yeah, we can add the year.
Are we all on 4? You guys okay with that?
Yep.
Great.
Or,
Anything else we need to add?
yes. Okay, we talk all about John. Okay,
Yeah,
and then it's Celeste. We don't even say her last name, but we're assuming that it is Harlow. But I was trying to read AI, what anybody else said about her. One of them said played a crucial role in Troutdale's early development because she did a number of things, right? She sold real estate and she carried on, continued John's crucial role. But it just seems a little lackluster if you say, it's like, who is Celestia? I mean, it's like, okay, well, the wife, and she drew a plat, okay. You know what I mean? So it's like, no giving her any descriptive words either,
Yeah.
of recognition and of,
substance.
so yes, there we go.
Unfortunately, I don't think we know a lot about her.
No, but we could say, like I said, anyway, saying, they had a few things to say. One was that she was probably involved with it earlier on with John, do you know what I mean? That she wanted to continue, and then it said later on she did it with her son as well, some parts of it. So again, just something
She
to,
was a businesswoman.
there, yeah.
I had read a book over the summer that was written by, I think it was one of his daughters or granddaughters, Gladys Harlow. And in that book, she went through a lot of what all of the family did. So I can go back through that book and see if I can pull anything else from it.
That would be great.
This is just a wording thing, the last sentence.
Today.
Yeah,
You don't like that?
you read my mind.
It's okay today.
Tomorrow will be a disaster.
Exactly.
Which one are you gonna take out?
That's really the question. Probably the first one.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on 4? You guys are awfully quiet over there.
Yeah, actually, it's got me, so I looked up, I did a quick AI on, and some of the comments about, like you're saying, it's all about John. Celestia's efforts ensured that Troutdale expanded strategically around the existing rail depot, which Captain Harlow had successfully lobbied for and enabled shipping to his farm. But her planning contributed to Troutdale evolving from a farming settlement into a structured town.
That's really great.
Yeah, that's a good sense.
With commercial and residential areas.
Can you send me that?
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks,
I
Frank.
can just copy it.
Cut and paste it and I'll send it to you. How's that
Yeah,
sound?
that's perfect.
Okay, moving on to paragraph 5.
This one's a doozy. Use.
Well, yeah, let's get out the aluminum plant. I'm not sure if it was.
Is that not accurate?
Aluminum plant has a lot of history, but that is
I
not.
was going through the bio and it's like, well, the only thing that's really a plant in here, that could be it.
Not the celery,
The
not the
meat
gladiola.
packing
those-
plant, there was a puller. There were lots of saloons.
And the aluminum plants were FedEx's, they're way into.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably would have just carried their lunch down there. Or drove home. Yeah.
I think they walked up.
Yeah, and I think the name Hungry Hill came before the 40.
Okay.
And the meat,
And I don't know how accurate it was, but I had heard somewhere that the reason that they had called it Hungry Hill was because when people had to have their horses draw the carts up to the hill, by the time they got to the top, the horses were really hungry, not the people. I don't know how accurate that is, but that was just
I hadn't heard that.
word of mouth that
I've
I had
never
heard.
that, yeah.
So,
But I've got all my information from Sharon, who's, studied it, and she always said it.
she would be the one that knew.
Yeah, and she said that people would walk home both for lunch up the hill from working down at the meatpacking facility and the pullery and the other business that might have been down along that main street, and walking up to home, and then also at the end of the day.
Well, I get that. I walk
Yeah.
from the shop to City Hall and then especially in the wind.
Yeah.
I think majority of it, though, the name probably came during the meatpacking plant era. It would have been a lot more walking, and it would have been unimproved streets and such. I'm not sure when that closed and the wool pullery took over that area, but
So probably meat packing. I can get rid of all mention of aluminum workers and plant.
Yeah.
mentioned that they
And
had to
also they
walk
went-
up the hill. That makes a difference walking up, because that makes it a little more.
And the plant was actually, where the plant was located, down close to the depot, or on the other side of it, right?
On the
Just
side
on
of
the
the
other
tracks,
side of the tracks, yeah.
at that end.
So at the east end.
Plant, the meat packing,
Yeah.
that was already
It stank all the way to Gresham.
processing the cattle from the Sundial Ranch.
Meat packing, cannery? Also, not cannery,
Just meat packing,
just meat packing.
or slaughterhouse, depending on what you want to call it. We'll go to meat packing plant.
We'll go meat packing.
Anything else for 5? Okay. 6.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah. No.
was the significance of putting Portland metropolitan region? I mean, what were you thinking?
I think it's the idea that Troutdale is now kind of becoming like an affordable home option in a larger metro region, like it's getting absorbed a little bit as time goes on. And that's why it's important to create a district that remembers and celebrates like how the town was founded. I think that's like the sentiment, why I put it in there.
So it doesn't get absorbed into Main Street.
Yeah, so you can at least, whatever happens to it, how it grows, develops 50, 100 years down the road, there's at least a little district where we're saying,
Yeah,
this is what it used to be.
it's distinct.
Yeah, so it maintains its rural roots, is the way I.
Okay, so then on the last statement, I wrote where it has, and the proposed historic district presents an opportunity to remember and preserve what makes the city of Troutdale unique. So that's not the only thing that did, the creating that plat. So I didn't know, like, to put something like, just one of the many things that makes Troutdale unique. Do you know what I mean? Just, it's like there's just so many things. It's not, we're not just saying this is the one thing that is the only special thing that happened. You know what I mean? As far as creating this plat. So it's
Is that what makes, or
you know what I mean? Just some,
what makes one of the many things
yeah, something like that. That's what I'm looking for.
the city of Troutdale unique.
Yeah, just make it less like singular focus.
Yes, that's.
Is there anything that we could put in there that would make a mention of, I guess it kind of suburb of Portland versus the archway where we say
Gateway.
that we're the gateway to the gorge? I think that the gateway to the gorge sounds a whole lot better than a suburb of Portland.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
And so I think that since that's on the arch of Troutdale, that should also kind of be mentioned rather than a suburb of Portland.
Or using both, because both are true.
Exactly,
Both are
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So,
And I say that because I had taken a trip over to Idaho in Sun Valley, and when I had talked to a woman in a store, and when she asked me where I was from, I was a little hesitant to say Portland. And I said, well, I live in the Columbia Gorge area. And she said, oh, by Multnomah Falls. And I said, yes, about 20 minutes. And that sounds a lot more appealing to her versus if I said I'm from a suburb of Portland. You know, it makes people think city versus if you say the gateway to the gorge, they think of all of the beauty that the gorge has to offer with the waterfalls and all of that. I think that really sets Troutdale apart. You say suburb of Portland and you're thinking, you know, Gresham, Troutdale, or not Troutdale, Tualatin, Tigard, Lake Oswego, those type of things. Exactly, exactly. And so maybe it's just me, but I think gateway to the gorge sounds a lot more appealing than, even though I do agree, it's.
yeah, it's good.
they both
That's where I
go
was
hand in
trying to
hand.
go.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's kind of on the archway.
I don't want that the last word you think about at the end of our
Exactly.
presentation here.
I just don't like the word suburb.
Agreed.
We can take it out.
Yeah, I mean, it just connotates,
More Portland
Well,
adjacent.
prominent suburb also makes us sound bigger than we are too. I
Yeah.
think that people really want to be a small town we are a small town within the Portland
I
metropolitan
mean,
area.
that small town feel philosophy is really where we go with it. When you say suburb, it just, the connotations just don't.
Okay. No suburb?
Well, we could just flip it and make Portland an extension of Troutdale. Portland's a prominent suburb of the Troutdale rural area.
true.
Or a special small town in Portland, metro region.
We could also just not mention Portland, that's totally fine.
Well,
Or
Portland is,
outside of
I mean,
Portland.
if
Harlem's
most people in
Portland.
the nation know where Portland is, and if you say,
Historically.
you know, Troutdale is within that Portland metropolitan region, it does signify where we are. It makes it more clear to.
I would almost wager that in the general American populace, there are more people that know where Portland is than if you said Columbia Gorge.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's only because of the recent.
I think both are important for us, but I think the point with the prominent suburb, A, I think it makes us sound bigger than we are, and B, I think it is a little bit of a misrepresentation, and most people in Troutdale are here because they like the small town feel, and they want to be identified with living in a small town, not in a suburb.
You can say just outside of Portland or east of Portland, rather than a suburb.
On the fringe of the Portland.
That's why I said Portland adjacent.
Can't say that either.
I mean, from a strictly demographic standpoint, the most pertinent description that is generally East County. That's the region that we fall in. That if you get too much outside of East County is when you're into inner southeast and that. But
the point of us being East County, though, is that we're east of Multnomah County.
yeah, exactly.
So it's for the majority, we're East County, you know, they're speaking of their county, and it's like, oh, they're East County. So, of the Multnomah region, so.
I don't know.
That's another native tribe, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. The suburb thing doesn't bother me too much. It's part of it is probably because I'm a more recent transplant, but it's just, it seems like a recognition of the reality that we are on the east side of Metro. I mean, it's,
Oh, we definitely are in the metropolitan area.
Yeah.
We're one of the metro.
and
We're actually on the urban growth boundary. We are the urban growth boundary.
We are the urban growth boundary.
That's true.
yeah, well, and that's what makes a lot of Troutdale's land use headaches more pertinent is that we have nowhere to go.
Well, we can't control it.
Well,
You know, there's places to go, but we can't say we want to go there.
right. Well, and even just geographically, we're hemmed in on at least 3 sides.
Yeah.
And mostly on the 4th. So, it's, yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, but it is reality.
We're at the beginning of wilderness wonder. Yeah, or I don't know.
That's why back to the gateway to the gorge.
Yeah,
That's
it
why
is.
we are
It's
unique.
pertinent. Yeah.
That is true.
We just need to annex Corbett.
Could we say suburb of Corbett?
Corbett is a suburb of Troutdale.
The capital of Corbett.
Troutdale's suburbs are Corbett and Bridalveil.
Springdale.
Good conversation, it's fun. Okay, anything else for 6?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's a good homework assignment.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted, though. I appreciate it.
This is Phyllis Burbage.
Yeah, it's probably-
That was good, just the little.
Okay. Property documentation.
Yes, I have a few of them from some folks. I have not a few from some folks. I can assist. So, what am I thinking? if you want to like tag team, or you're thinking, you know, I just don't have the capacity to get the documentation done in time by, I don't know, maybe like next meeting. Does that sound right to everybody?
Did you get my email?
Yeah, I got yours.
Because I am ashamed to say I have just not been able to.
Don't even worry.
Yeah.
We could, I'm happy to take on like what needs to get done. I just wanted to say that out in the open so no one feel compelled. But for those of you who didn't volunteer, if you feel compelled to take on anything.
I would
you're
really
more
like
than
to be able
welcome.
to take on my shop.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I would really like to do that, and I have also have talked to Chris. I had originally talked to Sharon Nesbitt about trying to find the history of the house that my shop is in, and she told me that they didn't have anything and that they would look into it. And then I have also talked with Chris as far as trying to trace that history as well, because I own the Troutdale Barbershop.
Yeah,
Across the
so,
street.
Was that your section?
yeah, so I actually dug up all the sale information. I mean, and that isn't the historical, it only gives me a date of how old the building is, based on title, basically. And then current owner, which was an LLC, if I remember right.
Jim,
Yeah, so I made a note, I think I highlighted on one column, because I was intrigued by how many homes are not actually like local. So it was amazing how many people don't live here and rent the house and live somewhere else, or.
Jim used to live here. He doesn't live here any longer, and he and I are actually in talks right now for me to potentially purchase the building.
Yeah, I can,
And so for a personal business standpoint, I'm very interested in
so I had that quadrant that was purple, if I remember right. Was that purple?
Let me check.
Purple and blue, I think, were my
I
two.
do have some information about the house, about a resident that lived there.
Yeah, blue and purple.
That would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
It's a little,
we didn't go into the actual history per se, like how, like renovations and like how, but we did have the original date of when it was built.
I would love to have that
So
information.
that's right on the Multnomah County sale, if you go in there. And I think you sent that out a while back.
Yeah, I can resend it to you, or send it to you and make sure that it got to
it's
you.
also in the list that you have,
The Portland GIS.
Yeah, that's,
our inventory list.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising how many houses in the Hungry Hill area that I did were, it was like 50-50. And as I went up the hill, it became more family orientated. So people that live in the homes are actually in the homes, so, yeah. I'd be interested to see, once we get them all done, what that demographic looks like. It's pretty cool.
Greg, I think that your observation about a lot of the businesses being owned by people who aren't here is probably, it would be really interesting data point to look statewide.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that just different businesses are owned, you know, if you look it up on Portland
Yeah.
Maps, it's somebody from California or,
Yeah,
So
there
that-
was one New York, if I remember, which was like, what?
yeah,
Yeah, I did a double take on that one.
yeah, it's interesting.
There was one Bend, I think, if I remember. It was like, and like you said, people move, so we're a migratory species.
Well, and that's one of my reasons of wanting to be able to buy the building, because I want to help kind of preserve some of the history before it gets kind of wiped out by people that are from here.
Have you thought about applying for a landmark status?
Because I don't actually own the building,
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm really working with the building owner. He and I are trying to come up with something that would be within my budget to be able to buy it. I'm worried about somebody else coming in and buying it and, you know, wiping it out and putting in
Yeah.
condos or something.
yeah,
I mean,
sure.
that would just make me sick.
yeah, yeah.
So.
It's a real threat.
And so I would like to keep it as is. You know, I was really disappointed when I think that I don't want to trash the Wayfinder, but I stared at that building for several years before they remodeled it, and I really, really wish that they would have kept a lot of the historic value of that. It was sad to see. I'm sorry?
It's completely erased.
It's gone. There's nothing
Yeah.
that looks like what it did. And I think that's sad.
It's a bad subject around here.
Yeah, I have been learning that, so, and I don't want to see that happen to my shop.
No. Okay, on that note, update staff communications for us.
I do. So, let's see. Last night, the Parks Advisory Committee met. There's been like, I guess, kind of like a hot topic about the street names Indian John, Indian Mary. There's been discussion about like renaming them. And that discussion started quite a while ago and it was brought back up. And because it started in Parks, Parks heard it again last night. I believe they made a motion for HLC.
That was me.
Yeah, I think that was Frank. I remember seeing you. To discuss, I guess, just the names in general, or maybe could you expand a bit on that, Frank?
It was more of a fact-finding. My intent was to give it to the Historic Landmarks Commission for the sake of making sure, because Erica wrote a lengthy letter, but I haven't had a chance to peruse it. It wasn't included. And she highlighted a lot of historical stuff, but I just wanted to verify, especially with guys like Chris, Director for Troutdale Historical Society. It's like, if we're gonna be talking about changing street names, then we need to make sure we got all the facts before we start going into that.
Where's the complaint coming from?
It's not a complaint.
It was I think it was a discussion item that originated with Parks, the committee, is that right?
It was a side note because we're looking at the naming the Chalk Chalk Trail.
Oh, that's how it.
Where are we going to go with Mary Tibbetts, potentially? And then it was a side note of that discussion that went into basically, well, we have streets actually called Indian John and Indian Mary, and I think we have 4 streets that are with those connotations. But there was no like complaint. This is all informational.
As an observation.
Yeah, observation is a better word. Yeah, definitely.
Because I was always worried, you know, that if we are imposing our ideas, I mean, if it's coming from the indigenous community, that's different. But if it's us thinking that the indigenous community won't like it, then that's,
That was, yeah, that's right on track. That's where I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, and
that's
so
why handing it to
there is
Chris.
a history there that needs to be
Yeah.
addressed and to be presented, not just a blanket, you know, we're not.
So I would be cautious of utilizing words like renaming and complaint, and it wasn't that. It was an observation. It was from a meeting that we were looking at recognizing Indigenous historically, and that was just part of the conversation that came up.
I think it was a comment about that particular road.
Yeah.
I or somebody else said, are there other things around? I wonder if the city should look into that. But that was the extent of it, and now it's become a topic that probably is far beyond the intention. So,
Oh, sorry,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chair.
you're good, sorry.
Just last night, the reason this group came up is because it was really, the Parks group is, I think, consensus was, it's not in the purview of the Parks Department to be, or Parks Committee to be doing this.
Yeah.
Probably more so the CAC,
Yeah.
as advisory committee. Right. So they'd be more aligned to that sort of question. But it was like, well, who was going to know the history and why these streets were named that way? Maybe we should ask the historic group if they know anything or could do any research. I think that was the full intent.
That was the intent. And it was a recommended research that was in my motion, actually. So recommend that the HLC take a look at the research, and nothing along the lines of renaming, nothing along, it was all observation stuff. Yeah.
And it could pretty easily rabbit hole into, well, this name and this name, it could become a list if people got aggressive about it, but I don't think it's been an
I
issue.
totally
Well, my-
agree that it's not, I'm not a native. So for me, that was another thing at the Parks meeting, was like, dude, I'm not indigenous, this is not my call. And we're in parks, so it's not in my context.
So a number of years ago, we worked with, before the Tilcomb Bridge was named, we worked with the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde, along with,
Say who we is.
in the Fire Bureau, we were naming,
Okay.
we were naming some new fireboats, and we wanted to give them some indigenous names. So we worked with them to, with some appropriate names for the new fireboats. And in that process, to be respectful and to be inclusive of the native peoples that went on there, as well as the purpose of the fireboats. And so there are ways to do it, to engage the native community, and to see, but that's a kind of renaming is a different thing than saying, how do you feel about these two names? They were done at the time, I'm sure they were done in honor of two well-respected and beloved community members. And that was the language of the day that doesn't quite match up to the values that we have today. And so it's probably a good thing to check and find out, and then how would somebody proceed with, because you don't want to erase those people off of Troutdale's history.
Worse.
That's worse. So, or I don't get into laying value on good or bad, but it's slippery and it involves process for sure. And we can do that, or the Citizen Advisory Committee can do that. But to our knowledge, it was done out of respect for two beloved community members.
As
They were, and they're documented in Sharon, at least one of Sharon's books.
okay, so thinking ahead for next month, would you or other members want an agenda item about reviewing the memo? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Or the information?
so it would, basically, it's a validation that I haven't read the memo, I don't have the memo. So, so
I don't either.
that's the part where it's like, yeah, we have to do this next meeting, so, but as you said, it's like, we just need to validate it and then make sure everything's right from our perspective. And then we hand it to CAC and go, hey, this was the intent. Yes, there are current, I'm the guy that's usually covering graffiti down on the bridge, so I can tell you there's stuff down there that you don't ever want to see. The intent at the time was not that, but we are now in current times where this phrase, this term is derogatory. And that was never brought up. And is it worthy of discussion? I'm not native, so for me, it's just really hard for me to make
Well, I think given that we are having a discussion about it now, we're dancing around the topic, means that it's worth a
It's
discussion.
worth the discussion, yeah. So, so I think that's our thoughts for the next meeting. Is it okay to send like the information out to us so we can review it prior to?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll track down this memo and I'll send it all to you guys.
And then-
so you can review and have it.
I really think Chris, the director at Troutdale Historical Society, is a great resource to reach out to since he is actually Indigenous. So he has contacts in the community as well, so it might be a good option.
There's also a statewide board, Sharon I don't know if she still is on, but she was on, renaming board. And they tackled issues like this specifically.
That's a great idea.
I don't know if the city,
Not just renaming, but naming and renaming if necessary. So there's
yeah,
landmarks that need to be named, or it goes through this board.
Yeah, there's even, talking to Chris about Mary Tippett's even that name, there's nothing that's really solid on it. It's like the name's out there in a lot of our documentation, but there's like no history that goes with it. It's like, how was she named that? Who was her mom? Who was her dad?
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
There's like gaps.
tidbits.
Yeah.
And we know that she's buried at Douglas, but we don't know
We
exactly.
don't know where. I know, I've talked to Metro about that too.
So they have assigned her a plot, but it's not.
Yeah. So a lot of this, we can do the best we can with what we know, but there's a lot that we don't, so.
And then also by next meeting,
Excuse me.
I'll try and get our proper documentation all organized and formatted, and then we can, hopefully I'll get it before the meeting so you all can like peruse it if you'd like. Yeah, that's it for staff communications.
Okay. Any comments from anyone?
Thinking any on, we did get just an FYI, we got $3,000 from Portland Bike Club for the bike hub, your center. But that also has like potential, because are we making any headway with the, we were gonna do some information placards on Sharon Nesbitt Park? Did Erica have any input on that?
Yeah, there's, from what I know, there's 6 interpretive signs going down at Sharon Nesbitt Park. The conversation of like what they're gonna be, what's on it, I think this motion means in the future. There's like debates on like, you know, who even begins working on it. Based on like contracts of, I think it's your responsibility. No, I think it's your responsibility. So that's where we're at in this stage. I can see about, because you were asking about having HLC have like input on them.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see it, especially with being Sharon Nesbitt Park. I mean, that's like a historical reference all by itself. And then, I mean, the other thing is I can't help but think of Poets Beach in Portland, and you were talking about you got me thinking about that, which has actual like connotations for indigenous as well that are etched in stone, and we just put in boulders all the way around Sharon Nesbitt. It's like, dude, if we're not utilizing the structures we're putting in there for historical benefit, we're missing the boat. Yeah, so I think it would be useful to have us involved from a historical perspective.
I'll talk to Erica. I'll let her know that you guys would like to have those.
For sure. Yeah.
Frank, do you know if they're using the design for the bike hub that they had?
They're only at 30%. I mean, it's a 30% design right now. They do have the design if you want it.
We had an original design years ago. I wanted to use the same one.
No, it looks newer to me. I've seen 2.
Because this one involved moving the caboose.
It's moving the caboose. Yeah, the one I looked at. I have the new one if you want to see it.
Where does it move the caboose to?
To the northwest side, if I remember right.
That's where the original design had.
Yeah. And then the gravel area would be a parking area. We were talking about utilizing those potential funds for a new type of granite style bike rack, AKA barrier. So it's a combo deal, but it's utilizing the same rock formation type that we use in the historic River Highway. So we're trying to mirror.
Sounds nice, actually.
Yeah, if you guys aren't noticing, but we're trying to mirror, like on the overlook section, it really mirrors the historic Troutdale Bridge, historic Columbia River Highway, Crown Point.
Using the basalt.
Yeah,
That's nice.
so, and then how we're setting the stones in there is very similar as well. So, but they're only at 30%, so that's literally saying it's all up in the air. So we're just trying to get the funding, really. That's part of it, yeah. So it was a big help. I mean, visitor center's open. We'll have bike tools set up this summer. We may have a couple of racks for people that ride out here and just want to store their bikes there for events or First Friday, that kind of thing. So, yeah, so just think of the historical side of it, start looking into design. I think that's an opportunity. And I know Chris said that the visitor center is getting more people than the Troutdale Historical Society barn. It's like they stop there and then they don't go there. So we're trying to figure out how can we get the depot as part of the jumping point to get people to go to the barn.
Get them to round the corner.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like
Better sidewalks.
better side, we do need a sidewalk on that side.
For sure.
I would give that to the planning commission for sure.
And somehow it really needs to create a flow that instead of kind of being a stopping point, it needs to like really
Yeah.
encourage people.
Instead of being the end of the street, it should be the beginning of the next. Right. And especially with the art down there too. That's another one that, and the art festival's changed this year as well. It's gonna be separated.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get an earful of that. My wife's on the committee, so. Yeah. Anyway. Retirement's been fun. That's all I have. Anything else?
Anyone else?
Yeah, I know I saw some, well, I haven't been able to find them again. I think I saw some perspective pictures of the Stark Street Bridge replacement. So there's some sort of initial design images starting to float out with that.
There's been one that is like, I think it's just somebody just taking a bridge and putting it there, and I don't think it's an actual.
Yeah, I mean, I know which one you're talking about, and I think I've seen another one that looks a little more plausible. But anyway, so that was sort of interesting. But I always have to give my plug for my parks program, my game day. Next one is February 14th, Saturday afternoon, so everybody is welcome.
What is it?
It's just an open board game day. It's at the CCS building right next door. I have 100 or so games out on the table and of various vintages that people are welcome to drop in and play. So I try to do that monthly. The last one was January 10th. The upcoming one is February 14th. I have to take March off because that's my big convention. But then we're going to keep going, and at least until we outgrow that room, and then we'll probably have to end up back down at St. Cox.
That'd be exciting, actually. Good venue for it. Yeah, okay. I've got a question about, how'd that get named? York Terrace, is that what it's called?
Yes, well, the York Terrace, it's a Lewis and Clark reference.
York
Okay.
was actually.
York was Clark's slave. Was the one African American member of the party of the expedition, and was
He was busy.
Was an instrumental part of the troop. Was initially promised freedom at the end of the expedition, but Clark reneged. But that the Lewis and Clark reference is what that is based on.
Okay. Are they gonna have some type of a little history board that explains that to people?
I think I didn't see any boards, but the art that is in their community center is
Explanatory.
is themed. Certainly, it is very Lewis and Clark and York themed. As far as something a little more explanatory and educational, I don't know.
Or somebody walking along the sidewalk, because a lot of people aren't gonna go any past the sidewalk.
Right.
Most people won't. It would be, might be nice if there
Actually
was.
put a mural on the wall too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's actually the gateway to the gorge theme, so it actually has.
And then the other iconography that is scattered throughout the complex is native inspired.
Great.
Beautiful stuff.
It's really good, and
They're starting. They're actively getting rental contracts signed. I believe they're gonna have their first move-ins here towards the end of this month, actually.
it's still a question mark. But
Yeah, there's some question marks there, but it's relatively soon that they're gonna start
they
move-ins.
do have we did note from Parks, they have a community garden as well.
Yeah.
And then they actually took our Troutdale lemon, so the Troutdale trout is actually a huge.
Yeah, if you look, there's some wind screens
Yeah.
on this side of the buildings in the stairwell that at night you can see them especially because they're all lit up. Great big fish.
Nice,
It is beautiful.
nice, good. Parking, or is the city, what's the city doing, anticipating about parking, traffic, all of that when all of this comes together?
Was it planning commission? You guys had a,
TBD to a large extent. So the city.
So wait and see?
Part of the deal with their last trip to planning commission, and this is before I was actually on planning commission, but I went to that meeting. When planning commission and city council denied them or didn't give them the right of way. So the city is getting 13 parking spaces for city use that is over there. So that the last row, the most northern row of parking that's in that complex is for city use, for public use.
Where is this at exactly?
Right over there.
Yeah,
A
and
big development.
Marley even mentioned the potential to negotiate based on, but a lot of this is unknown because.
Yeah, so the actual parking spot ratio, if memory serves, is like 1.4, 1.6 spots per unit.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
So, I mean, there's a fair amount of parking over there. Whether or not it'll be enough is anybody's guess. Because, I mean, like, half the units over there, I think, roughly half the units over there are studios and one bedrooms.
But the other half,
The other half is 2 and 3 bedrooms.
yeah,
So whether or not those are gonna, I mean, how many vehicles they're gonna have is who knows. And traffic patterns is gonna be another big question mark, because I know I brought up to Ray and Planning Commission and Council prior to the development that we didn't really like having that entrance on 4th Street. And we proposed that, and I think Gresham Fire and Public Works said that, no, we have to have that. But then when we said, well, can we make it gated and be official vehicles only? They said, well, no, at least not yet. Because my assumption is that people are going to figure out relatively quickly that if they want to turn left on Buxton or eventually get to the freeway, that it's going to be a little easier to do that turning left on 4th Street than it is on 2nd. Although apparently turning left to go out to the freeway from Kendall is easier. Allegedly, I mean, that's what Erica and Marley were telling me. They do it more often than I
Being
do.
there right on the corner, I can say right now, there is nobody in the city of Troutdale that knows the public parking lot better than I do. because I look at it all day long. And since they have put in those new sidewalks, I talked with a guy from the city that helped develop that. And the way that the sidewalks come in right there, like on Second and Buxton, it kind of crowds in. So it makes it very difficult for cars that are trying to go out versus cars that are trying to come in. And right there at the Wayfinder, I can't tell you how many times we have seen accidents, traffic benders, and all of that.
Yeah.
So that is problematic. I personally don't agree with how they have done the sidewalks up and down Buxton, because right there at Buxton and Fourth, I've actually walked that a couple of times, and I have clients that are mountain bike riders. They think that right there at Buxton and Fourth, that's an awesome jump. That's not going to be, you know, for people that are in walkers or wheelchairs or anything, that's a danger.
However,
Everybody knows it too.
Yeah.
however, the one,
The whole
Little deja
ADA,
vu getting here.
it's not
awful.
the one counterpoint that I would offer to that, and is that I am personally thankful for all those bump outs, because I don't know how many times that I had, when I was trying to turn left onto my street, turn left onto Fourth Street, that I had people illegally passing me on the right.
Really?
It happened all the time, and I think that is a far bigger safety hazard than what the bump outs themselves cause. So the fact that and that was one of the chief reasons for putting them in that way, is to prevent people from passing on the right.
And is that really that common?
All the time.
Is it, okay.
Every single time, when I'm coming down the hill and turning, before those were in there, every time I tried to turn left onto Fourth Street, you'd have impatient people coming up behind me that would pass me on the right because they didn't want to wait. And,
Okay, but wait, why was that a bad thing?
well, first of all, it's not legal. And,
Wait a minute, but you could, there's room. I might have been one of those people.
and it's,
Thanks for the sidewalk.
and it's an unexpected vehicle coming down the hill for any pedestrians that are trying to cross, or other vehicles that are trying to cross, that are coming off of Fourth Street or whatever. And it's a serious safety problem.
But I don't recall, I'm not aware of very many accidents prior to those bump outs happening. And when the bump out's happening, well, in Wayfinder, we've had a lot more accidents.
We're seeing them daily. People
Yeah.
are
Well, and-
yelling, they're
So,
arguing, people
and
are getting out and
I understand you
following.
didn't like it, but you were fearful of an accident happening, but now accidents actually are happening.
Yeah, and honestly, anytime you change a configuration, you're gonna get an increase in accidents.
That's true, that's true.
And this was actually something that came up during the last planning commission meeting also, when we were talking about the results from the downtown parking study. And the recommendations that are coming out of it. And one of the things that I brought up is that there are some streets that as much as we know we need parking, and we need more parking, because of traffic flow, there are some streets where we're gonna have to take street spots out of circulation simply because it's not safe for people to park there.
Right.
Can I make a
Wait,
mention?
can I, before we go on, I think I started this conversation. I think we can conclude the meeting and
Yep.
then
Hold on,
continue the
I
conversation.
did.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes,
Bill,
okay.
HLC oriented.
It is,
Okay,
it
go.
is, yes. So I'm the one that called in
We'll get back to you.
the Troutdale Bridge getting hit by the truck. They took off the end cap, the big cement thing, and then also buckled down the arch. It was a severe hit. The
Wow.
person was already on the sidewalk in Jackson Park before they came, and sounded like gunshot fires, and sad, really, really sad. It's a big truck, expensive truck, didn't even have its plates yet. But anyway, It got me thinking about with the Stark Street Bridge going to be redone or whatever.
Eventually.
Eventually, okay. So, okay, the question that I always had, I'm almost sure that that is the oldest state-owned truss bridge. Okay, so I'm not sure about that, okay, but I've heard that.
Troutdale.
Yeah,
Which one?
Troutdale's, I'm talking Troutdale.
Troutdale Bridge.
Troutdale.
How would that be? How would it be older than?
State-owned.
Oh, state-owned.
Okay. So my question was, does that have a historical designation? Okay, because I think it's worth pursuing a historical designation, because,
Look at the list.
okay,
It
but,
might be on the list.
okay, but that's what I would like to know. I would like to know the answer to that. And, because with the other bridge, possibly, I don't know what they're gonna possibly end up doing with it in the future. We're mile marker 0 for the gateway to the gorge. It has many unique historic significance features to it. And I think that bridge is worth fighting for to preserve it as it is. And so the first thing would be to find out, does it have a historical mark? Because I know their architects are also bridges interested in that. I mean, it's just really cool for so many different reasons. And it's on our logo. So you can't change the bridge, but anyway. So I really, really want to know if that's not historically designated, and if we can maybe take that on to preserve history.
Could certainly look into it.
We have to go in front of council first to get council's approval to do it.
Well, I think there is.
Is it county or state who owns it?
It might be state already designated.
So that's where the question comes up is where does the historic Wonder River Highway start? Is it on,
So not that, but it's the gateway to the gorge, or whatever it does have a designation as mile marker 0.
determines if it's 0 and it's on Troutdale's side,
It's on our side.
then it belongs to ODOT.
Okay, just so everybody is aware, I believe our governor changed. Anyway, historical designations have been changed either statewide or federally, that it does not prohibit someone in the future from destroying it. Like we've lost ground on historical
Okay,
landmarks.
I still think a name is important.
Just so you know, I agree.
Designation, and also, when I had talked to Marley about that area in the past, she was also wanting to, just a discussion, doesn't mean it's gonna come to fruition, but somehow maybe putting signage there to acknowledge the smelt runs. Do you know what I mean? As a great place to do that, so that we could use that area as more significantly to educate and to make Troutdale,
And a good spot to hand out buckets.
yeah, and tell them with
4
what it is.
feet.
It's, yes,
It is on the list of bridges of the National Historic
it's on the what?
list of bridges.
National Historic Bridges.
So it is a national recognized historic bridge.
List of bridges documented by the Historic American Engineering Board, and also list of bridges on the National Register of Historic Places.
Ah, that's great.
Okay.
That's big. That's a big one.
So
Okay.
If it's national, it's a big one. Along that note, we do need to end, and then we can continue discussion, but are we ready to end? Because then I want to have one thing, and then we're back to you, if that's okay. You okay? We ending?
Is everyone else?
Are we okay to end?
Yep.
All right.